Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create this GTA logo animation inspired by pixrate. I highly suggest you to watch this video until the end as we work with tons of effects and cool tricks for this video. And before we proceed further, I just want to give a huge shout out to pixrate for his amazing works to the community. Now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new to this channel so you don't miss the future content. Now, let's begin. So unlike the other videos from the pixrate series where I created everything from the scratch, I have few assets in here that I want to show you. Well, on pre-comp section I have a GTA design which consists of the GTA logo design plus a color guide that we are going to use for this video. I have also a text folder which consists of a paragraph and a border for our design. And finally, I have the assets folder in here which consists of the textures that we are going to use for this video. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select the GTA design and then I'm going to right click on it, and in composition settings I'm going to make sure that I'm working on Cinema 4D renderer because I need the extruded and beveled option in order to create the extrusion for our logo design. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go towards the GTA design, and then I'm gonna hide these layers, and then I'm gonna use the shy function to shy them. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna select this layer, I'm gonna navigate through to transform, and then I'm gonna hit the cube icon in here. And as soon as I do that, you see I have the access to the geometry option, and then I'm gonna use the extrusion to extrude my text. However, we cannot see the extrusion properly because the layer right now is facing towards us. So let's change that. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new camera, and the type is set on 2-node camera. And as you see, the preset is set on custom because I have set the focal length on 5000. And now let's hit OK. And now we need a null object in order to control our camera, so I'm going to call it the controller, and I'm going to parent the camera to controller. Also, let's make sure that we are setting the null on 3D. Okay, and now let's press R to reveal the orientation, and then I'm going to orient this ground layer to a number such as 323, and let's also make it a bit lean back, so that is good. And now let's use the extrusion to extrude our text. Well, as you see, we have a problem here. So right now the issue we are facing is that the layer is getting extruded backwards. I want to make sure that the ground logo is getting extruded from the forward, not the backward. So to fix that problem, we can just change the scale to -100. Alright, now it is fixed. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set the extrusion to a number such as 50, and then I'm going to set a keyframe, and then I'm going to go towards 18 frames, and then I'm going to increase it for numbers such as like 190, and then let's go towards 1 second, and let's push the design to its original position, and again let's go towards 1 second and 18 frames, and then let's just go for like 290. And then let's just go towards the 2 seconds again, I'm sorry, and then let's just bring it back to its original position, and let's just go towards 2 seconds and 18 frames, and this time let's just increase it for 390, and then let's go towards the 3 seconds, and let's just bring it back to its original position one more time. And lastly, I'm gonna increase it for 490, and then I'm gonna bring it back to its original position. So let's just apply the standard easings, and let's also change the graph type to speed, and I'm gonna set the graph like this. Also, I'm gonna select this extrusion depth and I'm gonna click on bounce expression. So this expression basically adds bouncing to your layer, so we can sort of create a follow through for our layer. But in order to make this layer work, we need to change the last keyframe to linear. So let's just play our animation. We need to increase it a bit so we can see the follow through. Okay, that's great. Now, what we need to do for the next step is that we need to colorize our extrusion. Now, since we have lost the ability to control the layer styles because we are working on Cinema 4D renderer, we can use point lights along with view effects to colorize our extrusion. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to right click on the empty space in here, and then I'm going to create a light. Now the light type is set on point. Let's change this color to a red color. The intensity is set on 150, and it also casts shadows, and the shadow darkness is set on 100. So let's hit OK. So I'm gonna move the light towards here. So this is the side color, and then I'm gonna duplicate this layer. I'm gonna double click on it, and then I'm gonna change this color to a green color. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna move it towards here. So now we have a color for our extrusion. Now it's time to stylize it a bit more. So what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna select these layers, and then I'm gonna pre-compose them. I'm gonna call it ground, and then let's bring the color guide above. And what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna add the black and white effect, and then I'm gonna decrease the red channels to -200, and then we can increase the yellows and greens to 300. So now we have a black and white color effect in here. So we can now use the Luma key as usual to key out the darker parts. So I'm gonna set it on like 89 seems fine. And then what we need to do is that I'm gonna add the fill effect. So let's just get the blue color, and now let's just also set the quality to full so we can see better. Right now the edges seems to be a bit small, so we can add the simple choker effect so we can expand it a bit. And then I can also make the edges rounded by adding a Gaussian blur effect. We can set the blurriness to a number such as like 10, and then we will use the curves effect to remove the blurriness. And I'm gonna switch to the alpha channel, and I'm gonna just adjust it like this. And now, as you see, we have our round edges for our shape, which is good. And then I'm gonna duplicate this effect one more time, and this time let's also get the purple color, but this time I'm gonna increase the red channels to 200, and then I'm gonna set the yellows and greens to -200. Great. Also, let's just increase the king to a number such as like 125. Great. And now we have the side color, we have the back, sort of the bottom color, and then what we can do is that we can duplicate this layer. We don't need the black and white effect anymore, so let's just delete it. Also, let's just change its color to white. Now this time I'm going to change the key to key out the brighter parts, and let's just decrease the threshold to a number such as 5. So now we have the front, which is good. Now in order to create these lines which you have saw in the preview, all we need to do is that we need to duplicate this layer one more time, and let's just remove the Gaussian blur and curves effect. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new solid layer. I'm going to call it mask. So in order to create those lines, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the grain to ramp effect first. I'm going to set the ramp to here. And then what I'm going to do on the next step, I'm going to add the colorama effect. And then I'm going to create a black and white color for my output cycle, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. So now we have those black and white lines. We can increase them by increasing this cycle repetition. So I'm going to increase it to a number such as 10. And then also let's just duplicate this layer one more time. I'm going to move it beneath the colorama. And I want to see the colorama effect. So to do that, I'm going to increase the blending. And I'm going to adjust the start ramp to here. And what I'm going to do on the next step is that I'm going to add the posterize effect, and I'm going to decrease the levels to a number such as 2. Well, that's good. And on the next effect, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a luma key effect, and I'm going to key out the brighter part. Great. Now lastly, I'm going to add a fill effect. And I'm gonna get the fill. And lastly, what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna pick whip the mask to the ground. Also, let's just increase the choke mat to a number such as like 30. And then I'm gonna set this mode to darken, same as the mask. And lastly, I'm going to pre-compose it, and I'm going to call it the ground mask. And lastly, let's just fix the edges by adding the Gaussian blur and curves effect into mask. Now, on the last step, what I need to do is that I'm going to create a stroke around the ground layer. So to do that, I'm going to duplicate this layer one more time. I'm going to bring it above. Let's just set its mode on darken, and this time I'm going to press Ctrl plus Shift plus E to remove all of the effects, and I'm going to start with a solid composite effect. I'm going to change this color to a pink color, and the next effect I'm going to add is the find edges. So now we have those strokes, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the fill effect. But before the fill effect, let's just add the luma key effect, and we are going to key out the brighter parts again. Okay, and now let's add the fill effect. Let's get the color, and now let's just increase the stroke thickness by adding a simple choker effect. Let's just increase it to -2. And now we can even play it with this stroke further. I can duplicate this effect a couple of times, and I can adjust it like so. So let's just duplicate it one more time, and let's just set it on 4. Okay, that seems great. So let's watch our result. Now I need to repeat the same step for the other two boards. So what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna reveal the theft and then I'm gonna place it above. And the good thing is that we can use the ground layer in order to copy paste everything and speed up process. So I'm gonna just do that quickly.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Alright, now off to the last word, which is the VI. So the VI is a bit different. So what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna first turn it into a 3D, and then I'm gonna set the extrusion to a number such as like 50. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna create a full rotation for this layer. So to do that, I'm gonna press R, and then I'm gonna set a keyframe on Y rotation, and then I'm gonna rotate it for one entire rotation at 2 seconds, and then I'm gonna set it on easy ease. So we will have something like this. However, it is for the best if we create an anticipation for this layer. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna go towards the graph editor. I'm gonna select the first layer, and let's just push the first keyframe down, and also let's just push the last keyframe a bit down. So what it does now, as you see, instead of rotating forward, it's just going to rotate a bit backward and then rotates and creates the follow through at the end. So this is great. Now, since this layer is rotating on a 360 rotation, we need 4 point lights. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna bring the point lights and the camera controller in here, and then I'm gonna duplicate the first light and I'm gonna bring it in here. And I'm gonna duplicate this one, and I'm gonna place it in there. Great. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pre-compose this layer. I'm going to call it VI. And let's just quickly adjust it again. And lastly, what we need to do is that I'm going to increase the size on the ground, same as the theft. And I'm gonna adjust the VI. Okay, now one thing that we can do to make this animation better, I'm gonna select the VI and I'm gonna press P to reveal the position, and then I'm gonna move towards exactly like 1 second, and I'm gonna push it a bit down till here, and then when it's going for the auto, I'm gonna bring it back to its original position. So we have an animation like this, which is great. And now I'm gonna apply the standard easings, and we can also apply the loop out expression. And now what we need to do is that I'm gonna pre-compose everything except the color guide, and I'm gonna call it the logo design. Alright, so that is good. So let's just go towards the main layer and let's bring the logo design comp along with the text comp, and let's just rescale the text comp. And now let's create also a background and let's place it in here. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring the textures one by one. So I'm going to add the first texture. I'm going to set its mode on screen. So that is good. And let's also rescale it a bit. And I'm going to bring the second texture and I'm going to set this mode on the screen again. However, let's just add a hue and saturation effect, and let's change the master saturation to -100, and let's also decrease it a bit. Okay, that's good. Now let's bring the third texture and set it on overlay, and I'm gonna bring the last texture and I'm gonna add the invert effect to make it white, and I'm gonna set its opacity on 17, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change its mode to multiply. Great. So I'm going to select the logo design and I'm going to add the displacement map effect, and let's just set it on texture 4 and change it to effects and masks. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select the text. I'm going to add the Gaussian blur effect. I'm going to increase it to a number such as 3. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the curves effect. This time I'm just going to change it from the RGB channel And then what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna add the displacement map effect, and let's set it on texture 4. And lastly, I'm gonna copy the fill effect from the, for example, ground layer, and I'm gonna paste it in here. So here we are at the end of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would help me out a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. Goodbye.